Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing part 3 of my review of this Final Faction toy line. And what we're looking at today are 5 more figures from the Alpha team. And these were released in several different waves. And the first 3 that you see here in the front, Churro, Scope, and Torn, were released in the first wave of the Series 2 figures. And you can see on Churro, this is sort of like a robot dog with a little chihuahua inside of it. So you can see FDO mech piloted by Churro. And on the back of the package, you get a little write-up here on Churro. So that's pretty interesting. And as you can see, in terms of the marketing of these, they released pictures of these 3 figures, and then they left the others sort of a mystery. So it's kind of interesting in terms of, how to sort of advertise what's coming next. Sort of leaving it unknown as to what's going to be in the next wave. Kind of interesting there. And then over here on Scope, I kind of get a little bit of a Tony Stark Iron Man look from this character. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a metallic sheen kind of to the armor pieces. So that's pretty cool. And on the back of the package, you can see here's a write-up on Scope. So that's really nice. And then here on Torn, you can see again, there's a little bit of a sheen to his armor pieces. So that's pretty cool looking. This figure actually has a rotating head too with 2 different faces. And then he has this movable hood. So that's pretty interesting. And here you can see the write-up on Torn. And then here we have Riptide. So these would be in the next wave after that first wave of 3 figures. And you can see on the back of this package, you can see now they have pictures of all the characters. So you have Amari, Riptide, P131, which I don't have yet. And I also don't have yet any of these Karn figures. I've been looking for them, but I can't really seem to find any of them at any of the Dollar Tree stores near me. One other note about Riptide, there's actually a warm water color change feature. So I'll demonstrate that later on in the video once we get these out of the package. And I will be getting all these out of the package so you can take a look at them. Here's the write-up on Riptide. And as you can see, really cool looking figure. Yeah, so that looks great. And then last but not least, we got Amari. And really like the look of this. Again, this one has sort of that metallized look to her jacket. So that's really cool looking. And just a really cool looking character. Almost reminds me of something you might see out of the Mad Max films. So that's pretty cool. And on the back of the package, you can see the write-up here on Amari. So all this is pretty exciting, and I think they look great in the package, but I'm anxious to get all these out of the package so we can take a look at the details up close. So stay tuned. Okay, so we have these figures out of the package now, and we'll start over here with Churro, and you can see what this robotic mech looks like. Really cool detail and design on this. I think it looks really cool. And on Churro himself, he's just basically no articulation, just a single piece. And he does include this sort of handle on the back. So theoretically, one of the figures could actually carry him around. So that's pretty cool. And this little hatch in the back of the mech allows you to put Churro inside of the mech. So that's pretty cool. So he just pops right in there like that. And you close it up. And there you can see he's piloting the mech. And in terms of articulation on this, you can see there's a spin at the head, rotation here at the front limb, rotation at the back limbs. And this also spins. I thought initially it might be on a ball joint, but I don't think it is. So just be careful about that you don't try and bend that too far. I have a feeling it might break off if you try to bend it in too many directions. But it does have a little bit of articulation there. So definitely very cool. This is my favorite of this grouping, and looks pretty sweet. So next up is Scope, and you can see what this figure looks like up close. And I did a little bit of cleanup on the paint on the forehead of the figure. It was a little sloppy, so I just did a little tidying up on that. But other than that, I think the figure looks great. I did notice there's a little bit of looseness in the joints at the hip joint. So yeah, that's a little loose. It's possible it might be able to be fixed though. As I mentioned in my other video, these figures are held together with screws, so it is possible to take them apart and do some customizing on them. So, and as you can see, it comes with this really gigantic gun, and also this backpack. And I noticed there's a little port in the side of the backpack. So that allows you to actually attach the gun to the backpack and stow it away when he's not using it. So that's kind of a cool feature like that. He also comes with 2 pistols, and those will also fit in his hands. As you can see, each of these figures has like a little trigger finger, and you just need to sort of wedge it in there so he's holding it properly. And also there's little holsters on either side of the legs. So when he's not using the pistols, you can actually insert them in there. So a lot of unique details on this. So, and again, he has 2 of those. So there's a pistol over here, pistol over there. So really cool in terms of all the features on this. I think they did a great job in terms of, creating this. And the backpack is removable. As you can see, it just ports into a little port on the back of the figure. And one other nice feature about these figures is all those little ports and so forth seem to be relatively universal across most of the figures, which means if you buy some of the accessory sets and so forth, it means you can port in the various accessories into those little portholes. And next we got Torn. And as you can see, he's got this hood feature, and it kind of fits on there a little loosely. It's supposed to notch into a part on the back. And as you can see, he's got 2 face sculpts, so you can spin the head around and you get sort of this weird looking face. And again, the hood goes back on top of this. And as you can see, you sort of notch that into the back of the head like that. So you can see what that looks like. But again, it's a little loose. Doesn't really fit on there very tightly. But yeah, that's a little bit of a flaw in terms of the design of that. He also comes with these 2 blades that attach to the sides of his arms. So that's kind of cool. And overall, I'm really enjoying the overall look of this figure. Again, it's got that sort of almost metallic sheen to the armor pieces. So that's really interesting. And he does include a weapon too, which fits into this holster. And that'll also fit into his hand. So a cool looking figure. And then next up we got Amari. And this one is probably the least interesting in terms of accessories. She just includes this sort of club, and that's pretty much it. But I do like the look of the figure. I think she looks really cool. And I definitely like that gold jacket too. And she's also got armbands that are done in that metallic gold as well. So looks really cool. Very excited to have this. And again, you can see a port on her back. So theoretically, she could have a backpack or whatever, depending on what comes in any future accessory sets for the final faction. So that's really cool. And then we got Riptide here. And this one comes with some really cool accessories too. So as you can see, he's got this breathing unit, which loops over top of his head and then attaches to the front of the figure. So you can see that's easily removable. And you can see what the face sculpt looks like on that. So cool looking character. And I like these harpoon launchers that he has on either side of his arms too. Those are removable. So you can see those sort of just port into 2 portholes. And then the harpoons actually are removable too. So that harpoon comes out of the harpoon launcher. So very cool in terms of detail. They didn't really need to go that far in terms of the extra detail on this, but they did. So that's kind of exciting, adding in that extra feature. So yeah, this looks great. He also appears to have like what look like propeller jets or something on sides of his legs. So that's really interesting. Again, there's a porthole here on the back of the figure. So theoretically, he could have some kind of backpack as well. So that's pretty cool. And as was mentioned on the packaging, this is supposed to have some kind of color change feature. So I'm going to heat up some water and see if we can make that part activated. So stay tuned. So in terms of the color change feature, you can see the difference between, the one that's not dipped in hot water versus the one that is. So not too much in terms of a change. It just sort of makes it a brighter green. So that particular feature is not particularly impressive, but I did want to demonstrate it for you to show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like after it's been in the hot water, and this is what it looks like after it cools off. So I did dip this one in there too, and they did get bright just like this one, but then eventually they fade back to the darker green. So that's the color change feature. One other thing I'd like to mention with regard to the Churro action figure of this line, Because it is scaled up quite a bit larger than the other figures, this actually would work quite well if you're a collector of larger action figures. I can show you in terms of scale, like putting this next to my G.I. Joe classified Snake Eyes. You can see, so this sort of has the stature of a large dog by comparison to a 6-inch scale figure. And even if you collect like 12-inch G.I. Joes, this might actually work. So I can show you like what it scales like next to, 12-inch G.I. Joe. You can see, he stands quite a bit shorter, but in terms of still being plausible as the size of a dog, yeah, I think it's still something that you could actually use. So yeah, if you're a collector of larger scale action figures, you might want to be on the lookout at Dollar Tree for this particular figure, because it might fit in well with some of your other larger scale action figures. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And stay tuned to my channel for part 4 of the series. I will be covering the Arrow ATV, as well as some of the accessory weapon packs that have been made for the series. And I will be showing how those accessories and so forth fit on the various figures. So stay tuned for that. And if I pick up more of the Final Faction line, which I'm still looking for, I will be covering that in future videos as well. So think about subscribing if you want to see those videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.